previous video, we've seen how we can get started with OpenTelemetry, getting telemetry from one application, an existing application, in that case, the Spring Pet Clinic, without that application knowing anything or not being instrumented at all with OpenTelemetry. In this video, we're going to see how we can add our own instrumentation to the application. We're going to add some information about our business, about our application, some things that the auto instrumentation cannot get. So OpenTelemetry provides us with an API that we can use to do the manual instrumentation of our applications. I'm a big fan of the manual instrumentation myself. I try to use manual instrumentation as much as I can. But I understand that in some cases, some teams might not have the knowledge, or they might require some speed that you cannot get with manual instrumentation. So auto instrumentation comes to the rescue, but eventually you are going to need to add custom attributes or custom metrics to your code. And for that, you can use the OpenTelemetry API. In this example, I'm going to show you how you can use the OpenTelemetry API with the Java agent so you can add a specific attribute, a business attribute, to a span that is currently active. Okay, so going back to our example, we are now in the phase 2 branch. I just built the application here, and one thing that I did, one change that I've made was in the source repository. Where is the source directory here? Main and Java, and then owner and the owner controller. I added a span.current.set attribute, and then owner.name, and then I set the value of that attribute to the owner's full name. Now, this is coming from OpenTelemetry API, and if we go back to the import statements, we see here the OpenTelemetry API. If we open our Gradle configuration file, so the build.gradle, we can see that we've added OpenTelemetry, the bonfire here, and the API here as a dependency of our project. So that's all that we've done. So we've added 2 lines of code to the build.gradle, and then on our controller, we added a manual instrumentation here towards the end, span.current set attribute. And that's it. That's all we've done. We didn't configure the SDK at all. We are relying on the configuration of the SDK that the agent is doing for us. All right. So again, going back to the first video, the default configuration is sending data to a localhost 4317, and that's it. Let's start our application again. So let me start. So I have already a container with our backend, our telemetry backend. So I started again this container, so that we should have no telemetry there. Let's just confirm this is the case. Let me go to the traces. There you go. We don't have anything at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the application again with the Java auto instrumentation agent. And then what is going to happen is whenever we open the owner ID page, then we should see for the spans for that specific page, we should now see the owner's name for that page. So our application has started. We can now open our Spring Pet Clinic. I'm going to refresh this page here. So I refreshed. I can go back to tempo, run query, and then we see all of the operations that were created during the bootstrap of the application. I'm going to filter here by span name, get owners and owner ID, and run the query again. And then we see the specific trace that we are looking for, the one for that specific page. And if we open it here and we open the first one, then we should see what is the name of the owner. And there you go. Owner name, Betty Davis. So if we open there, this is indeed the name of the owner for the fat basil. So this is a quick example or a quick show on how to do manual instrumentation, enhancing existing spans, enhancing existing telemetry with your business operations. It's not very complicated. If you're using auto instrumentation, you typically can piggyback on the setup that it made for the SDK. You can use that configuration, just instrument your application. It's not complicated. You don't have to initialize SDK on your own. You can rely on the auto instrumentation for that. Throughout the course, you're going to see other ways of doing the same. You're going to see how we can initialize SDK using external configuration files and so on. But for now, just to get your feet wet, this is one way that you can do things. In addition to enhancing existing spans, you can also add your custom metrics. So perhaps there is a specific metric that you want to add to your code to track a specific business operation or a specific business metric that you may have. And you can use the OpenTelemetry API for metrics to create that metric for you. And with that, we close this video. And on the next ones, we're going to see how we can expand from there, how we can automate some of the things that we've seen in the first 2 videos in an environment that is closer to your production environment.